The world is now talking about one of the most intriguing and frankly bold ideas coming out of the White House. President Donald Trump's renewed push to acquire Greenland for United States national security. It's not as outlandish as it might sound at first. So let's break it down step by step using the facts on the ground, or should I say on the ice. First off, President Donald Trump has been crystal clear. Just this week, aboard Air Force One, he told reporters, and I quote, "We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security." He emphasized that Greenland is so strategic right now, pointing towards Russian and Chinese ships, whom he termed as all over the place in the Arctic region. So, this isn't new for President Donald Trump. He floated this idea way back in 2019 as well, during his first term. And again, after his re-election in 2024, calling ownership an absolute necessity for national security and freedom worldwide. So this is what President Donald Trump is claiming. But the question arises, why Greenland? It's not all about real estate bragging rights. It's about geography, strategy, and staying ahead of the US adversaries. Let's start with the map. And let me open this map because it's not the MacArthur map. You might remember the map from the school, which distorts the pole. In this 3D map or the polar view map, Greenland, which is this part, sits in the middle of the shortest path called the Great Circle routes from Russia's Kola Peninsula to the continental United States. So let me show you on the map, this map, because here you will be able to understand that what exactly we are referring to. So here is the map, and here this part is Greenland, and the Kola Peninsula, which we are referring to, is this region. So this is Kola Peninsula. Let me enlarge it, and this Kola Peninsula is the base for the Russian Navy. The Kola Peninsula, that's the Russia's powerhouse in the north and home for the northern fleet of the Russian Navy, where there are submarines. Russian Navy has base, and majority of their nuclear-powered ballistic missiles and their submarines are placed there. Kola Peninsula, this portion here, you can really see that where exactly is the Kola Peninsula. This is the kind of map, you know, this is the 2D map, the two-dimensional map. And here, they sit right across the Finland and Sweden, just adjacent to that. And this is the Barents Sea. But here, when you see the shortest circle route which we are talking about is actually a route which can, from this Kola Peninsula, they can fire up to the continental part of the US or the US mainland via this route, because this is the Arctic pole, this is the Arctic Sea, and the ICBM, the Intercontinental Ballistic Missile, and their testing sites like pellets are also in this region. So here you can see the difference or the distance. The distance between Russia and United States is very short here. And that is the reason why President Donald Trump thinks that it is important to shoot down any ICBM coming towards the United States at this region, and that's why he wants the Greenland. And that is the strategic exchange. And if there is any strategic exchange, God forbid, between Washington and Moscow, those ballistic missiles or the bombs would arc right over Greenland. So if Russia has to fire an intercontinental ballistic missile, that missile will traverse through this area, and with the flight path would be this. And therefore, if the US Air Force is there and US has stationed their military personnel there in Greenland, I'll show you those pictures as well. And this base in Greenland, the US military base, is commanded by the US Aerospace Command. And you can very well understand that the significance of US Aerospace Command being stationed here to kill any ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missile, because this is the route, this is the short circle route which can be used by the Russians or by any adversary of the United States. And therefore, to kill any such threat, President Donald Trump thinks that Greenland, if it comes with US, this will be very important. And that's where the interception comes. The best shot at stopping a ballistic missile is during its mid-course phase and at its highest point, which is called the apogee, when it is moving slowest. When a missile is fired, then it goes like this, and the projectile in the phase in which it is moving slowly, which is called the apogee phase, then it can be it can be shot down, and that is the best chance. And positioning defenses right below the path. So if a missile is traveling this path, then it would be in its mid path somewhere here, and it would be flying over Greenland, and that is the best chance to kill that missile. And that's why President Donald Trump thinks that if US military is based here, then United States military will be having the best chance to kill any ICBM. And the US isn't starting from scratch here. We already have a key asset, a Pituffik Space Base, formerly known as Thule Air Base in the northwest Greenland. And you will see these pictures. Recently, US Vice President J.D. Vance visited Greenland along with the Second Lady Usha Vance, and he was greeted by the US military personnel there. You can see here the US Air Force. So the US military personnel, those who are stationed in Greenland, they are already there. So US has a base, but US want absolute control of the Greenland. And this is the northernmost military installation of the United States, operated by the US Space Force Command since 2020, and with about 150 to 200 military personnel stationed in Greenland. It's equipped with advanced radars for missile warning, defenses, and space surveillance, tracking potential ICBMs from Russia and even monitoring satellites. Plus, it's got the world's northernmost deep water port and an active airfield, crucial for watching the entire region, that strategic choke point where Russian submarines might slip into Atlantic. And that's why for the gatekeeping of that Atlantic Ocean, US needs Greenland. And that is the reason why President Donald Trump is saying that for the national security, we want Greenland. But it's not just about Russia. The Arctic is heating up. Literally, climate change is melting the ice, and you can see here the ice is melting in the Arctic region. This is opening up new routes, new paths, and opening the Northern Sea route faster than ever. This Northern Sea route is considered as the fastest route as compared to the Suez Canal as well. And the Chinese cargo ships are already sailing this path to European ports like Flextove near the Rotterdam in Netherlands, cutting transit time to 18 to 20 days, half the Suez Canal route. And without those Suezmax size limits, because Suez Canal has a size limit for the ships, and here in the northern Arctic route, there is no size cap, and therefore the bigger container ships, bigger cargo ships of the Chinese exports can travel through this route. And this boosts China's EU trade big time. And where commerce goes, military follows. China, calling itself a near-Arctic state, has sent research submarines under the ice already and raising alarms about future military submarines venturing into North Atlantic. And that is also one of the key reasons and key fears for US military and President Donald Trump. They are building nuclear-powered icebreakers and partnering with Russia on patrol, like the joint ones we saw in the Bering Sea last year. Greenland's northeast coast hits two birds with one stone for the US security, defending against Russian threat and keeping tabs on the Chinese Arctic push. Add in Greenland's vast mineral resource like rare earth minerals, critical for technology and defenses, and you see why Donald Trump says Denmark is not going to be able to do it alone, because US has that technological prowess. Denmark and Greenland have pushed back, saying it's not for sale and could even end NATO if forced. So this is the kind of warning coming from Denmark and its Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen. But the White House is relentless. The White House even mentioned the military as always an option, though that's raised eyebrows across Europe, because that is going to spark another competition and another challenge for the EU and US collaboration. So there you have it. Greenland isn't just about ice and forts. This is frontline in modern great power competition. President Donald Trump's assertion, it's rooted in cold, hard strategy.